Hello, as ever this video is a trade-off. On the downside there's my shoddy doodles and my jokes at the humour equivalent of dad dancing, but by thunder there's an upside too. Deep level 9 insight laid out in an easy to follow format and some stunning model paragraphs. Model paragraphs in fact are so polished and perfect that if they had the cheek to give them a level 8 I'd be screaming for a remarks until my larynx shattered. And this is the kind of deceptively difficult, trickier than it looks question that examiners delight in designing. I mean, look at old JB there. The man is aghast, he feels your pain. Although at first glance, this question looks like a doddle, doesn't it? The importance of secrets? Well, yeah, you think. Stick a pen in a chimp's fist, he's going to walk away with a level 5. Swimming with secrets, this play, isn't it? Eric stole money, Gerald's secret affair, the dirty dog, GOOLE, very secretive with that photo, and Mrs. Birling lying to GOOLE about recognising Eva. This plot, as I say, is swimming in secrets, and of course that knowledge is to our advantage. But, as this puddle of poop you see before you amply demonstrates, if you're not showing a solid understanding of that textual knowledge, your grade is going to suffer. And we will have a quick look now and see what this paragraph is, more than a little bit, bobbins why it's so bad. Eric's secret is he stole money from his dad because he wanted to help Eva as she was pregnant with his baby and his wages weren't enough. This shows Eric is bad. Priest was born in 1894 and thought capitalism was bad. Let's throw a zoom lens then onto this paragraph and see how this howler fails on so many levels. And as you know, it doesn't really matter if you're level 9 or level 2 in your target. Seeing what not to do can be really useful sometimes. So let's pull it apart. The stuff in blue, you get a mark for SPAG. So that poor full stop control, that lack of a capital letter on Eva, that is going to have a negative impact on your grade. Also, you're telling me too much of the story there. She's pregnant with his baby and his wages weren't enough. This is not Jack and Ori story time. Just give me one detail and then analyse it. Don't relate the whole blinking plot. As for our interpretation of the evidence, well, that's pathetic, isn't it? Eric is bad. We can certainly do a little bit better than that, I think. As for the contextual stuff, Priest was born in 1894. Big whoop, nobody cares, that's not relevant. He thought capitalism was bad. Well, he did, but I'm sure we can think of a more robust way of linking his social political views to the evidence in front of us. Okay then, let's move from junk to jewels. Let's take another secret, but this time add some intelligent analysis, some suitable context, and then spin it into a paragraph of pure level 9 examiner candy. This secret is GOOLE's. Turns out in Act 3, doesn't it? He's not a real policeman. Act 3, brothers get the shock of their lives when they hear this. And how's about this for a muscular explanation? Eric and Sheila are quick to realise it's irrelevant whether GOOLE is a real policeman or not. GOOLE is not there to investigate legal crimes, but moral ones. He's not there to wrap handcuffs on anyone. I mean, the only real crime, the only crime that probably stands a chance of seeing the inside of a courtroom is Eric's theft from his father's firm. And frankly, I mean, given that Eric, that booze-happy bozo, it's implied that he's a rapist, that he raped Eva, I'd say nicking a few quid is the least of his faults. And we can fruitfully develop that analysis by looking at GOOLE's name. He's not called Inspector Bang-em-up or Inspector Lock-up. He's not interested in putting these people in prison. His name, GOOLE, with its connotations of ghosts, suggests he's there to haunt the Birlings, shocking them into perceiving the immoral actions that led to Eva's death. Now, in terms of a contextual link, if you want to keep it simple and say, Priestley presents the ruling class as immoral to denigrate or criticise capitalism so that you can get Britain running along more socialist lines, go right ahead. That works, that's a winner, no question. But if you want to hit the examiner with something a bit fresher, something very intelligent that few students will know about, then try this for size. The idea of an amateur detective avenging the death of a working class girl recurs in Priestley's fiction, particularly his 1966 whodunit, Soul is Leaving. And in just the same way that we developed our interpretation of the analysis, we can go further with our contextual link. We can say that writing this novel 20 years after Inspector calls, you could imagine Priestley must feel very angry, still feel the need to have to attack the ruling class for its exploitation of the poor. I mean, it would appear then, wouldn't it, that 20 years after writing Inspector calls, nothing has changed. It's business as usual, the ruling class, and they're back keeping the poor under the cosh, keeping their lives miserable. And here you can see, and you can read it at your leisure, that I've turned those ideas into a paragraph so beautiful, the examiner's going to want to have it tattooed across his chest. I've colour-coded it as well. I've got point in red, evidence in blue, explanation or analysis of evidence in purple, and that black stuff, that's that contextual link. Now if you're still a bit vague on the whole salt is leaving thing, I've got a short sweet video to support you on this. Have a look. Oh yeah, and I've underlined those two words in green just because they link to the question, which was about the importance of secrets in the play. Speaking of secrets, I'm going to let you in on one now. You won't believe me? I'll get over that. This book is not about making me millions. It won't sell that well, and that, to me, is a great thing. Rolls-Royce, after all, don't shift as many cars as Ford. It's not about me, it's about making a few sharp students absolutely bulletproof in that exam. Level 9 exam responses to questions you like to get. I don't have to put the hard sell on that for bright students. Buy it or not, it's up to you. Another secret we can look over is Mr. Birling's. He is desperate to keep the family's vices, their mistreatment of Eva, a secret. He wants to avoid public scandal. And he says, doesn't he, in Act 3, he's so relieved there's no one girl has happened to, no scandal. I mean, he's a real heartless ogre, that man. As the picture on the left suggests, he's kind of turned self-interest into an art form. I mean, his attitude seems to be, never mind that between us we've driven a girl to burn out her bowels with bleach, taking her unborn child with her. No. It's appearances that matter. It's all veneer in here, folks. You don't have to be decent, you just have to look it. I mean, honestly, that man, he's got all the charm of a pub toilet. He will always put veneer, facade, appearances above decent moral behaviour. In terms of context, if you're after that easy win, there is no shame in simply saying that this play was first produced in Russia in 1945, and that as a communist country back then, the negative depiction of the ruling class, as embodied by Mr. Birling here, would have played very well with that communist ethos or value system of the country. However, if you're after something zestier, something that's going to make you stand out to the examiner for all the right reasons, you could try this. In one of his earlier works of fiction, called Blackout and Gretly, he suggests that the ruling class are actually more closely linked to fascism, to the Nazis, than they are to democracy. And so in a sense, this is complicated, but we can turn the idea that this is a negative depiction of Mr. Birling in the play. We can turn that idea on its head and say, well, do you know what? Compared to earlier works by Priestley, the depiction of Mr. Birling is slightly less critical or negative of the ruling class. Because Birling, for all his faults, he's never accused of being a Nazi or a fascist, is he? Ho, ho, ho! And presto blinking changeo, there's your high-class, high-grade paragraph crafted in that silken, examiner-friendly style, which just encapsulates everything I've been warbling on about for the last few minutes. Final secret now, we'll burn through this one very quickly and you'll be relieved to hear there's minimal commentary from me. Do you remember Gerald told Sheila he was working hard the year before? Well, he was working hard, alright, wasn't he? Oh, yeah, he was coming home exhausted. But not from pushing a pen, you can be sure. He was having an affair with Eva, wasn't he? And there's our analysis or explanation or interpretation of that evidence. Gerald's secret affair that highlights the immoral nature of the ruling class, shows him was unfit to govern the lives of the poor. And there's a solid chunk of context. It's relevant, it's insightful, it's quite straightforward. Have a read. And if you're so inclined, have a read of this. It just solidifies those ideas about Gerald into that articulate, insightful style of writing the examiner loves. I mean, this is going to be like chucking a fish to a sea lion. He's going to yum this up as the examiner. He really is. And let's get gone. If the examiner tries to sucker punches with a question on secrets, we're ready to hit that critter back with some level 9 jabs. As we say up north, ta-ra, and all the best in that examiner.